Welcome to episode 44 of the Hike or Die Outdoor Adventure podcast. As always, I am joined by Craig. How are you, mate?
G'day, fantastic.
That's good. We are sitting in a rainforest yet again, delivering on our promise. The only promise, Craig, that I'm not going to deliver on is being more prepared than the last podcast. And quite specifically, because I haven't told you this yet, but when we sat down, I realized I did not bring my reading glasses, and therefore I have no notes or any way to read them. So welcome to the party. It's going to be a train wreck.
This will be good.
We would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land from which we record this podcast today and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We'd like to extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. Craig, what's happening? It's a nice day for a hike and a podcast.
Oh, this is perfect.
Is it not?
Loving it. This is great, man.
It's cool.
This is our old stomping ground. It's great to be here, back here, you know?
Yeah, this is we always talk about secret spots, and I think the term secret spot is a little cliche. Like, I understand that. I'm sure there's tons of other people have been here. But I think what we deem a secret spot is something definitely off trail. So we use a relatively well-worn trail, and then at some point we'll deviate from that, and through exploration plenty of times over, we've found little amazing pockets, hidden campsites. I can't tell you what episode it was. I may be able to quickly find it on my phone while we're talking.
Oh, we were here, weren't we?
We did, yeah, we did actually. We had video of that too. So it was one of the ones where...
It was at night.
Yes, it was in the evening. And...
we haven't talked about it. Do you remember that day, what we did? Man, that was crazy. We went right up this creek, remember?
Oh, I was thinking about that just as we were hiking. Sorry, I'm trying to do... What am I going in there for? I can't even see what's going on here. It's just a blur.
I remember falling and snapping a pole. Remember that in the creek? Like,
oh, I know. I forgot about that.
Nearly went over.
Yeah, no, I forgot that one.
It's awesome.
It must be... sorry, this is really boring, just listening to me try and find... Oh, here it is.
23.
Wow, that was episode 3.
3?
A Night in the Rainforest.
Okay.
Episode 3. Wow. Incredible. Yeah, so that's how far back
this spot
it
goes.
was.
Yeah.
But we camped here the night, or near here. I mean, 50 metres from here. And there's a video on Instagram of Eric the eel, I think I dubbed him.
Yeah.
When I was patting that eel in the stream that evening.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty cool. But yeah, that was a heck of a trip, because we stayed 2 nights in the same location, right? And on the middle day, we tried to basically go upstream from here through, just crazy terrain. I was thinking before, when we were walking, I walked through the stream just up to my calf muscles there. Took my shoes off, and I remember going through up there up to our chest.
Yeah.
Which is over your head.
Yeah.
Craig was like in this little floaty lounge thing, and I'd just drag him across the dangerous bits.
Yeah, I was.
But it was full on, eh? Like,
lucky we
holding
didn't
our packs over our heads.
Break a leg or something, you know.
Yeah.
Slippery rocks, but we managed.
That was good. I'd do it again. I was going to say right now, but that's a lie. I would not do it right now. It's actually quite fresh this afternoon. there's, well, what time is it? So it's 3:30 in the afternoon, and we did what did I say we did? 2.5 kilometre hike in?
Yeah.
Yeah, just under 2.5 kilometres. That's, it does convert to miles, but I'm not going to do it. Sorry, guys. And yeah, got to this spot here, and there's some cloud cover at the moment. We usually bring on rain, as you would know, if you've listened before. So
So we're prepared for that.
we're sitting in a stream, so all I have to do is inflate the raft, and that'll take us straight back to the car. So yeah, if rain comes, I guess we'll deal with it then, but so far so good.
So we can't read your notes today. Is that the story?
No, well, I got into, well, short answer is, yeah, you're right, we can't. Or should I say no? But I went in and I made the text massive granny size on my phone so I can actually see. There's something in those bushes right there, and I just can't get an eye on it.
Yeah.
But after, Craig and I have already seen a snake on the way in, and he was not happy to see me. Do you reckon you got a good photo of that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was unhappy. I got a video which is pretty average, but
No, it's already...
there's something else creeping up in there, and I'm just a little bit conscious of it. Partly because I've spent this last weekend, I went away for 4 days to a good friend of ours' property, and we saw a lot of snakes, a lot of nope ropes, a lot of wriggly sticks. In the time we were there, considering that we were only there 4 days, I think we saw 4. One was most definitely 100% nasty. Like, not only did he act nasty, but he was, just think about the nastiest looking snake you've ever seen. He had every character trait, like physical trait. Even so I was with my 3 sons and 2 dogs. It was quite the experience. And
what did the dogs do? Did they go near it?
They didn't, but neither of them saw that one. Yeah, actually on all occasions they were just, I was going to say in the wrong place, but they were in the right place, as in they didn't notice the snakes. We did, and I just call them back and don't even really alert them to it, as to not create any fuss around it.
Sure.
But the young pup, so he's not even a year yet, he did see a little snake up near the cabin, and he jumped back, which I thought was a great thing. He was inquisitive, but I called him straight off and he just let it go. I think he got the idea. But back to this other snake, it was like a burnt orange colour, bright sort of burnt orange. It had these like stripes across it, like sort of like a tiger sort of pattern on it. And then its head was, think about, you know what like a Death Adder's head looks like? Like it goes real narrow behind the skull and then it comes out, almost like an arrow shape. It was like that, and had white eyes. It was just, and it was called back. Not impressed with us. I was not really impressed with him.
So you didn't identify it? You don't know what it was?
Well, no, I took a photo, and I haven't had a chance, to be honest, to actually sit down and look through the snake book or look online.
Yeah.
I am keen to find out, because to be honest, I've never seen that snake in my life. I mean, I don't mean that exact snake. That's quite obvious. I mean that species. Never seen. It'd be funny if I had seen that. Maybe
that exact one.
Be like, oh, that's Frank.
There
Don't
he
worry
is.
about him.
Seen him again?
He's always cranky and always here. So just give him some distance.
What do you expect?
We were there swimming in the stream, and we just put down all our gear, and then My son was standing in front of me. I was sitting, not unlike I'm sitting right now, which is not good for podcasts, but I'm just sitting on a rock. And he looked over my shoulder and went, "Oh, everybody, snake." And I didn't move. And I said, "Okay, is it safe to move?" And he said, "Yeah, it's watching us, but it's a couple of meters back." I said, "I'll just have a look." So I looked, just kind of slowly looked over my shoulder, and I probably had 2 meters distance, which is not a lot, but I would consider, based on the size of that snake, that would be within striking distance, just. But he was more intent and kind of standing his ground. He was full in the, what do you call, I don't know, the S shape, whatever you want to say. Like, he was ready to go.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, already. And we hadn't even done anything. Like, he was just not happy. I mean, I was getting undressed. Like, that's probably enough to get anyone's back up, especially if that's your front yard.
You've done something.
And some clowns turn up. Like, there's 3 kids and me and then 2 dogs, and we all start taking our clothes off in front of him.
Right,
Fair enough.
Right.
So, anyway, the boys moved away. I said, "You guys move. I'll stay in between you and the snake." And I had a hiking pole, just as, not as a weapon, more as if he's going to go for anything, snakes go for the closest thing to them. In which case I would have just held the pole out in front of me to distract it. And they moved back. We moved all the gear sort of 10 meters away. And then it took quite a while for him, like a good 10 minutes before he was simmered down and then went off back into the rocks. And we just kept swimming after that. So yeah, I've seen a lot of snakes. And then the one up near the cabin, I think that was a friendly. I think it was a green tree snake. But I saw this photo the other day of about 10 different snakes of varying degrees of olive, shades of brown, shades of green. And it said all of these are brown snakes.
Yeah.
Which are our most, is it most deadly or definitely in the top kind of tier, right?
I think they're most aggressive, and therefore most attacks happen from them.
Yeah,
very
I'd
common.
agree with that.
I think the taipan's the one that's
Is it as far as venom goes?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Well, I bet the brown snake's up there, and as you say, they're not happy chappies. So anyway, back to my point is, I'm not prepared these days to look at something that looks like a cute green tree snake, and go and just then start fiddling with it or walking up to it. I treated that thing like it was deadly, and gave it a wide berth. Got the dog away from it. It went under some rocks, and we didn't see it again. But then the one of the other ones we saw. So one of them I didn't see, only the boys saw it go into the bushes. And then one I did see, it was like right on the borderline. Like I'd say that's a juvenile brown. There's no way I would bet money on it being just a green tree snake. So we kept our distance from that fella as well. So yeah, like within 4 days, that's kind of a lot. That was about one a day. I think it almost worked out to every day we saw one. Which is why, and we've already seen one on this hike this afternoon. So I'm hearing this rustling, which I think is just leaves dropping, but it could be a snake eavesdropping. How's about that for some poetry? Yeah, just don't know. And I've got my back to the bank, which is just silly.
That python wanted a piece of you today.
Oh man, I've never seen one A, move so quickly, and B, be so utterly like disgusted that I was near it.
I was really excited because it's just a medium-sized, small one.
Yes, it's small. I'd say small, and if you compare that to,
saw you approach it, and then all of a sudden it was like nearly on you.
Oh my gosh! Even you, I don't know what were you getting your camera out or something?
Yeah, I did.
Because you've looked back and gone, what did he just go you? And I said,
Yeah.
he went me big time. Like he
turned around. He had his head in check. Yeah.
did a 180. So it was a python. They tend to move slow. Like it was in the shade. I
Yeah.
can only guess that he'd been in a sunny pocket for the last couple of hours because he was juiced up, as in he was pumped. That thing moved quicker than, I guess because it was more agile as well. You know, the bigger, older ones perhaps just go, whatever.
Lazy.
It's too much effort.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Snakes all around. Hey, perfect segue, as always. Another funny story about snakes. Our friend Ross, remember...
How's he going?
Well, he's going fantastic because it turns out he reposted that video from about 3 or maybe even 6 years ago.
Oh, because I saw lots of posts recently thinking he must be fine.
Yeah.
And no mention of
So
it.
I went back to check, and I went back to write to him and say, hey, mention you on the podcast, something for you to listen to while you're sick in bed. And then I watched it again. I was reading the comments and someone said, I hope you're okay. And then he responds and said something like, oh, yeah, I'm all good. This video was from 2017. I'm just pulling that date out.
Something like that.
Put it this way, it was at least 3 years ago. And he says, oh, yeah, no, that video was from ages ago. And I went, oh, my gosh.
Classic.
That's crazy. So I did comment and I said, expect potentially to have people giving you well wishes, because I told everybody that you were in hospital, and he just laughed and said, oh, better late than never, and no worries. So he took it lighthearted. So I hope like that of his friends listen to the podcast and went, oh my gosh, he's been bitten again on the same finger again. Oh no. Oh yeah.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah, it's important, I think, to clear that up.
I've been talking about
I mean,
it.
we hardly make mistakes on the podcast, so
No.
it's good to just be honest. You also...
Oh, mate, we're just a wreck.
You also have to apologise to the entire country of Africa. Would that be correct? Continent?
Yeah.
Yeah, for accusing them of having a filthy rat-like creature by default.
I remember sending you the picture of this agouti that I got mauled by.
So you got the name wrong, right? Were you calling it something else?
No,
you did get the name.
I realised it was from South America.
Yeah.
Not Africa or South Africa or whatever I said.
General. I think you just said Africa. Generalisation.
So I know nothing. And it's probably, you should double check. Let me know what the most deadly snake in Australia is, because it may not be what I said before. Who knows? Maybe we should not comment or make any facts.
We don't talk on the podcast.
Right.
We just
be here.
That you just hear the odd cough, like just clearing our throat. We just kind of hang out. There's a stream.
Nice sounds.
And then an hour later we say, because we can't probably get it wrong by just saying thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
We can guarantee that podcast had exactly zero misinformation, because we didn't say anything.
It's almost that
probably
almost
where it's going to go for the future of the podcast. I'm just trying to get a bit more comfortable on this rock. I do have a little camera going. Not sure where or when I'll use that footage, but if you do ever see that, or maybe I'll take a screenshot from it. I've got a nice little recliner here.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
So yeah, that's the Ross news, and that's our apology. Well, my apology on that. Sorry, Africa. We have listeners there too, by the way, Craig. You think, oh, that doesn't matter. Well, you're wrong, because there's listeners there, and
No, it was
they've been fuming for weeks.
Yeah.
Thankfully, nobody's messaged me.
Definitely a South American rat got me on the finger when I was a kid. South American.
Is it a rat, though? Are you still generalising?
I called it a rat.
Yeah, well, there we go, guys. Pretty much,
Look, the
it
picture
wasn't
I sent
a rat.
you says rodent, so that...
Okay, but that's not a rat. I think a rat is a rodent. As in, do you know what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
a mouse is a rodent, a rat is a rodent.
All right.
So it's a rodent. Okay. Now rats are sitting out there listening to the podcast going,
Okay.
come on, man, that thing's not even a rat, and you're blaming us.
South African animal. South American animal. Here we go again.
Now they're South Africans unhappy. What are you talking about, mate?
It's not our animal. Yeah, I try to offend as much as I can.
Well, it's going really well in that regard. If that's your goal, you're succeeding. I'm going to just keep telling you about my trip because we haven't even spoken. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, man.
We've I think that's all the apologies.
Right.
Yeah. I don't expect to talk about Arkansas this podcast,
Yeah.
but if I did, that's exactly how I'd say it. Something, and quite an interesting observation when I took the dogs out hiking. So I have two dogs. They're both Australian working dogs, so they are bred to work cattle. Both highly intelligent. Both are under 2 years old still. And they're on Instagram. The eldest one is Skippy. She's almost 2. And the youngest one is Ranger. Excuse me. And he's almost 1. When Skippy was a pup, I took her out there and she was a bit too small to get over rocks and logs and stuff. She was a real pup, like 12 weeks old. But then later on, I took her out to a friend's farm and she ran with their working dogs around the cattle. And literally, in the span of 3 days, she was a different dog. Yeah, in a good way, just completely different. It just blew my mind. It was incredible, and I think it's just by putting the dog in the environment for which it was bred and giving it a purpose. And exactly the same thing happened with Ranger on this trip. He was just this kind of goofy puppy at home, and within 24 hours of... I wouldn't even trust him off the lead when we got there. For the first day, I wouldn't even trust letting him off this 20-foot rope.
Yep.
Because I thought he would see a wallaby or a kangaroo or a deer or a goat, and he would just run and run and run until he was so lost and exhausted and I'd never find him again. Yeah. And so I kept him on this 20-foot rope, and even on the first hike, I kept him on this rope so he could still feel like he was, exploring, but ultimately I had something to grab. By the second day, he just changed, and I let him off, and his recall, so like calling him back from things he shouldn't be doing, or just in general, just Skippy's almost flawless, like she'll come back every time. And he just got it. He just got it. It was fascinating. It was like a real proud dad moment.
Yeah. Just
watching him evolve. And there's that thing, and it's the same with kids, and that is to see true growth in your children, or any children. Even if you're a coach of a sporting team or something, you need to give responsibility. Like, you need to give them the opportunity to A, make a decision on their own, and B, make a mistake on their own. And that's how you grow. And so I gave him the opportunity to run off and be silly. And there's a few times I called him back. I didn't get angry at him or anything. I just said, hey, you know, that's a bit too far, like out of my sight. I want you back here. And once he understood that, it was incredible. Skippy already does this. So she'll go 20, 30, 40 meters ahead and she'll stop and look over her shoulder and stand there for like a full minute and wait for us to get halve that distance. And then she goes ahead again. And then she stops and looks. And she basically had Ranger trained to do exactly the same thing within 2 days. Cool. It was incredible. And there's so many occasions where I just tested, you know, to see if they would come back. And
the dogs or the kids?
Oh yeah, the kids. So there's a different whistle for each, because there's single whistles for the dog and doubles for the kids.
No, it's good that she could be there for a few days. I'd imagine the first day that the dog would have something in its eye that it just wants to go and explore.
Yeah.
And you just
Smells.
restrained it.
Like 5,000 billion smells.
And then on the second day, you let it have the chance to test its limits, so it sort of have a bit of an explore, but it knew that you could restrain it if it didn't, you know, if it didn't behave itself. So that's good.
It worked out fantastically. And there was 2 occasions where he chased a wallaby, and just for anyone getting uptight, he's got no chance in the world.
No.
Like, he's chasing the dust of a wallaby.
Yeah.
It was way ahead, but he ran into this thick kind of brush, and I thought, oh, here we go. If he doesn't stop, I can't even see him. And so I called him, and it took a good minute, and then he came bounding out of the bushes back to me, and I thought, well, that's about as good as it gets, because he had something in his sights. He was fascinated by it. These dogs don't want to hurt animals. They are herd animals, and so they want to round stuff up. I got this photo of Skippy, Craig. So we got down to I'm jumping all over the place here and I don't care. We got down to the waterfall, and as we came down, so we didn't go down the steep bit, we looped around the back the way that I think we came, which means nothing to anybody here, but I'm just telling Craig's story, so relax. As we've walked towards the waterfall out of that loop, there was this massive billy goat sleeping, and I got to within 3-4 meters of it, and it was fully asleep, and the other goat that was with it, I mean, if I was that goat, I would be so angry and I would never trust my friend again, because the other one got up silently and then trotted off. Like, that's not what they normally do. They normally jump up, they do their call, and the other one wakes up and they run off. I've seen it 100 times with goats. This one just got up and went, I'm out of here.
You
Joe,
can have this on your own.
Joe, are you awake? Oh, it's too bad, mate. There's literally 4 people and 2 dogs. I'm out of here. And then, so he wakes up. The 2 dogs had gone past him and were on the other side of him. And there's me and my 3 kids on this side of him. He's woken up and looked either way and just thought, this is my actual worst nightmare of my life. And it literally took him 5 seconds to get his bearings and stand up. Admittedly, I think he's getting on a bit. He's very big and probably getting quite old. Anyway, he finally kicked into gear and took off. And so Skippy, the older dog, starts rounding him up like a sheep down in the thing. And again, like, not in any way aggressive, just purely like, I want to contain you. You need to stop, because this is what I do, mate. You need to stop running.
Yep.
We got to corral you. That's what I do. This is my job.
Yep.
Don't worry.
Instinct, eh?
I know what I'm doing. And she was on him, and I was laughing, and the kids were like, wow. And then I just called her straight off. And again, to the earlier point, the second I called her off, bang, she just went, boom, snapped out of it, looked at me like, what's my next command, and let the goat go. And I thought, wow, you can't ask for much more than that either. In the height of this massive excitement, she's just gone, yeah, okay, Dad, I'm all good. I don't need to chase it. So it was just watching the evolution of these dogs. Well, not so much Skip because she's already amazing, but the younger guy was I'd say it just brought me great pleasure because we came back with a different dog to the one that we took there.
Is that right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even so now at home, he's different, like more confident, just different, acts different, listens better, just everything. He just went through his initiation out there, and I got some cool videos of him trotting along in front of me down the trail, just not being stupid, just being absolute legends, you know.
That's good, man.
And speaking of legends, like the kids were unreal as well. We did some hard hiking. You know that so on the way back from the waterfall, basically the climb from the river to the car.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That, on my Garmin, it was 600 meters, and it was 110 meters elevation.
Yeah.
Just in that.
Yeah.
And we punched that out in 23 minutes or something. And that's including an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
It just smashes out.
That's pretty hardcore.
And that was at the end of the entire hike. So that was at the end of going all the way down. Can you hear something? Oh, it's a bird.
Yeah.
There's a bird up here somewhere.
Yeah, nothing much.
Craig's got the headphones on, so he's getting a heightened sense of what's going on, but I don't, so I'm just hearing naturally.
I can hear it all. But
it's back here. It's back there.
That's the problem. I can't exactly see
Oh,
where
you
it's
can't
coming
pinpoint
from.
it because you can't turn your head.
No.
I mean, it's not working. Yeah, he's back here. He's probably coming. Oh, there he is, right there. See above that pool? I think it's a fantail.
Yeah.
There he is.
There
Oh,
you
he's
go.
having a swim. Oh my gosh, that's the cutest thing ever.
That's cool.
He's, what's that, 5 meters?
Yeah.
Can you hear the chirping in the headphones?
Yeah, I would have just heard him splash, I reckon. I'll just, let's be quiet for a sec.
Oh, and he's off.
And he's off. That was him just having a little bath in the water, eh?
Oh, and he's back again. Oh my gosh, he's cute.
Oh, you probably can't hear that on the audio. But yeah, it's cute to
just
watch.
so
It's
cool.
good for us anyway, you know.
It's all about us. I don't know if it's worth me trying to film that because I don't know what that is. That is not, I don't think that is a fantail. It's acting like one. Oh yeah, put it this way, it's not. We're 2 hours from our house, which is probably like 3 hours from our local area that we do hike. So things are slightly different down here. Oh, there's a second bird now coming down the bottom.
Yeah.
He's going to have a swim as well. Oh, that's cool. I love little birds. Like I saw in this meme or some Twitter comment or something that one day you're just hiking and then you just get to a certain age where all of a sudden you're just into birds.
Bird watching.
You're just overnight, you're just like, oh man, birds. So what type of bird's that? Oh yeah, that's a fairy wren. Oh, awesome. I'm going to look that up when I get home.
It's happening already.
It's been happening for about 4 years.
Yep.
Speaking of which, we saw some pretty cool birds down there. So the boys did really well. We found a couple of swimming holes down there that were different ones, like I'd never swam in before. And that was about it. I chucked both of my eldest sons in the driver's seat of the 4-drive for a couple of Ks.
Cool, yeah.
Both did their first drive.
It's a rite of passage, mate.
Yeah, exactly. It was everyone kind of had a bit of an initiation of sorts. Yeah, they did probably a kilometre. So what's that? I don't know. I'm not good at miles. 10 kilometres is 6 miles. That's correct, isn't it? Yeah. 10 kilometres is 6 miles. So they did about 1.5. So probably a mile, maybe. Just under. But yeah, they were great, man. They loved it. They couldn't stop talking about it. Just.
Yeah, good.
It was really good. They did a great job. They were listening really well. The little guy, the 8-year-old, had this slip. It was on this. We're going along this rock face that was probably, I'm not going to say 45 degrees, probably like less than that, maybe 30 degrees. And we've got to this point where we had to go in between these two rocks, and he's held on to a rock about the size of a basketball sort of thing. And he's held on to it, and he's made the mistake of putting both hands on it and putting all his weight on it rather than sort of having his feet stable and then one hand somewhere else. And it was just in the dirt, and it flipped down, and he kind of went down on his chest, and then the rock bumped him in the top of the head, and it was, for me, I was sort of 3-4 meters ahead, and I just turned back and I had to watch the whole thing happen. And he kind of slid down, and the rock didn't do any damage, it just went around him. But he was sliding towards this drop-off, which was probably, when I was looking at it, in my mind it was 10 meters high. But when I actually went over there and got him down, it was probably 1.5 meters, not even my height.
Yeah.
And it's probably like my chest height, shoulder height. Now still, he could have tumbled off there, and even like a 1.5 meter drop is a broken arm, broken leg, concussion, something like.
Sure. There's
still that.
Yeah.
And it kind of put a bit of a shock into me, and as a parent or just anybody taking anybody hiking, you are running some risk. Everyone's at risk all the time hiking, and I don't mean that to be I'm not trying to make it out to be this dangerous pastime. I'm just saying it's a fact. Like, we could twist an ankle here today.
Yeah.
Easy. You could have a full slip and go down on your forearm the wrong way on one of these boulders, and you got a fractured forearm. Like, these things can easily happen. Mm-hmm. We walked past a snake. As I said, we were near some, not friendlies on the trip. But at what point, do you... Like, I tried to educate him on afterwards, like calmly, like when he cried a bit, he was in shock. The way he saw it was like he was sliding towards this 100-meter cliff because he's so small. Yep. So we, gave him a hug, and we calmed down. I calmed down a bit as well and said, "Oh, okay, it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought." But when I look back and see a kid sliding down a rock, I'm just thinking, "Oh my gosh," knowing full well that we're at least an hour. Well, put it this way, if I had to carry him, we'd be an hour and a half to 2 hours from the car, and then another hour and a half to a hospital. So those things kind of went through my head, and it's the
next level sort of fear, mate, compared to when it's just yourself.
When it's just yourself, that's exactly right, because if I break my arm, I'll just swear, grit my teeth, strap it up or whatever, calm down, go to my pack, get some, some paracetamol or whatever I've got in there, try and mitigate some of the discomfort, and then make a plan and move. But it's not the same when it's somebody else, and it doesn't even have to be, your own child or friend or parent or whatever. I think just anybody you're with, it just puts an extra level of...
chance of accidents, but there's that everywhere. It just is
that's
more.
Right. Well, that's exactly right. And this is what kind of got me through it later, was I'm thinking, gosh, am I a bad parent? You
don't remember, but I did tell the story exactly the same with one of the twin girls. I actually caught her as she was hanging off basically a 2-metre drop.
Yeah,
and
I vaguely remember that. Yeah, I do remember
it. She tells the story that I saved her life, but it wasn't deadly. But
yes, I understand.
Maybe probably a twisted ankle or something, or a broken leg. So you've got those risks, and I've been hanging out with the kids at the beach a lot, and lately, and it's not quite as well. But they're not swimming in the surf, which is dangerous, but just going to Beachmere and hanging out there's not much risk there. It's pretty safe.
But then, comparatively, like, you're closer to civilization.
But accidents can happen.
But they could walk down the steps at that place to just before the sand, or on the way up, misjudge a step and knock their 2 front teeth out.
You're on edge a bit when you take them out, eh?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm grateful to have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, and the 14-year-old is really stepping up, and I don't mean there was any obligation for him to do so. I mean, he's just taken things upon himself to look out for others, and
leadership.
Yeah, he would be, and even 12-year-old to some extent, a valuable asset in the event of something happening where we had to split up. If we were there and we felt that, for example, a snake bite, we don't want to be carrying people around because we don't want to move them, right?
Sure.
So, and I'm the only person that can drive a car, despite the fact I said the 2 of them can drive. I'm the only one who can drive to help, or even to get phone signal. I would be confident in leaving my pack with the 2 older boys and the younger one, to look after the younger one or whoever it was, and then knowing that I can go and get help and come back and know that they've got food, they've got water, like they know how to use the water filter. Even like they were doing that the whole trip themselves. Oh, can I do the water this time? I'm like, yeah, sure, get into it.
It's good.
It's a boring job. Please do it.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Once they got the training wheels off, right? And they
And they know me, like they know that I would never stop. Yeah. They know that I will come back. They know that I'll get back to them, and that they just need to trust in giving me enough time to do so. So, but it's not what you want to think about, not even talk about, but it is a reality, and that they might not even be your kids. I'm not suggesting you just go grabbing kids and take them hiking if you don't know them. That's creates all sorts of things with the police and everything. Just make sure you know the parents at least and have permission. But all jokes aside, it could be your niece or your nephew, or you could have a young cousin. It could be a friend's, it wouldn't be uncommon that, for example, one day one of us might take one of the other kids along somewhere, right? In which case I'm then responsible for someone else's child.
Yeah.
And obviously I have a heightened sense of responsibility when my kids are with me. I know their capabilities, but if it's another kid, I'd be maxed out. And to put it, to be blunt, I wouldn't even go to a crazy place. I'd just be keeping it simple. Like not doing anything crazy, because why add extra risk at all? It's already crazy enough.
Yeah, we've got a lot of kids coming over to our place at the moment, and you do worry that accidents can happen. You know? It would be
on your watch.
Awful to have to tell the parent that, something's happened.
I couldn't think of a worse conversation. Like, even with dogs, like if someone looks after your dog, or you look after someone's dog, and have to ring up. Like a friend of mine was looking after someone's dog, and they had to take it to the vet.
Yeah.
Because she thought it was going to die. Right. And I'm thinking, and so then she's ringing up the guy on holidays going, hey, I had to take your dog to the vet. Now, they're really close friends, but you kind of think, like, the first thing I'd be asking, what did you do? Like, where did you go? Where did you take my kid? What did you feed my dog? Like, you just kind of jump to these things.
You'd have to be careful, though, and just be... Accidents happen, you'd have to assume you've trusted these people in the first place. So that trust must extend if something happens. Because
and I mean, I wouldn't let just anyone take my kids to certain places. Like if it's a local playground, there's a wider scope the right word? The net would be cast wider for people I would think would be eligible to look after my kids at a playground.
Okay.
That is not the same amount of people that would be eligible to look after my kids in the wilderness. Like, that basically narrows down to two, basically you and another mutual friend of ours. And that's it. Like, it's not, I don't know, as you say, the risk factor's high. Anyway, I mean, it's just, I think it's worth talking about. I know a lot of our listeners do have kids, or at least take nephews and nieces for hikes. I'd be interested to hear just other people's opinions on this topic. I don't know. I just think it's an interesting topic.
What, whether it's scary to take your kids out into the wild, and
how do you...
even though you want them to experience it.
Of course you do, right?
It's so valuable.
Why are you going to shut them inside and say, hey, kids, I do this thing where I go hiking, I go canoeing, I do this crazy stuff in the middle of nowhere. It's really cool.
That's too dangerous for you.
You're not going to take you, because you should definitely play more Minecraft and other video games, because you can't hurt yourself if you're doing that.
Yeah.
But you can hurt yourself if you come out into these crazy places. Like, it's not about being, I was going to say who's the better parent. It's not about being, I'm better than you because I take my kids hiking. Like that. It's not that. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I think out of the two, again, the same thing I said about the dogs. To have growth, you need to offer the opportunity to. You need to offer risk. So there needs to be risk in the equation to have growth.
Absolutely.
Like, you do not grow from, let's say you can run 5 kilometers and you just run 5 kilometers on flat ground all the time. You'll get very good at running 5 kilometers on flat ground. You're never going to exceed that fitness level if you don't start going up hills, if you don't make it 6 kilometers or 10 kilometers. Like, you're just stuck, and that's it. You've not added any extra. It's not so much risk in that case, but you get my point. Is if you're not adding potential for, I don't know, it's a tough one. Like, are you going to say that your kids can't ride push bikes? My middle boy broke his wrist 8 weeks ago riding a push bike. So do I say, I got to my 3 boys now, I don't want any of you riding bikes because they're dangerous, you can break your wrist?
No way, no. Mate, my kids came yesterday, came inside covered in dirt from playing cricket in the backyard till it was dark.
I love how somehow playing cricket to your kids gets them covered in dirt. Like, what version of cricket is that?
I know. I don't care. I loved it.
What is it like? Part rugby?
I'm sure it was
part gridiron.
I'm sure they just call it classic catches in their world. But you know, mate, any day. This isn't a parenting podcast, but any day you can walk away from as a parent is a good one, right? There's risks every day with kids. It actually eats me up a bit, worrying that something's going to happen, phone's going to ring. You know, and definitely getting out into the wild, there's lots of accidents can happen.
Yeah.
But that's where I want them to be. I'm encouraging it.
You know, you don't want their first interaction with the wilderness to be I'm listening over my shoulder because I don't like the sound of that. You don't want their first interaction to be sort of at 16 or finally they're 18 or 21 or whatever you deem to be an adult and say, okay, now you're allowed to hike. That's too late. They're not going to... I mean, and no, let me rephrase that. It's never too late to start hiking. We didn't do it until 10, 12, maybe 15 years ago. So it's never too late to start. It's never too late to be introduced to the outdoors. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is you can give them so much value, so much learning if the introduction is small increments early on and then building on that, you know. Yeah. I think when when your son gets to be the age of my eldest, around 14, you're going to sort of go, wow, I've really reaped all the benefits of having him. Like, he's competent. Like when I'm sitting there making a coffee or whatever and my boys are filtering water just at the edge of the stream and I kind of look over and think, well, that's so cool. Like, that's cool. Or if I say, hey, can you just light the stove for me? And they go, oh, really? I can light it? Like, of course you can. Like, go for it. You know, like, those things they're, again, giving them responsibility for something that they see as beyond their level of competency or
I've seen
experience
too. And so encouraging, although there's risks, to get your kids out there. Absolutely, mate. It's rewarding for them, for us.
Look, you're going to be the one that benefits later. I've always said this, when I've got my 3 Sherpas trained up, man, my life's getting a lot easier, man. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to because I'll do all the packing. Yeah. So I'll have their packs, like, packed to the hilt. Yeah. And I'll just have a few snacks in mine and a water bottle and the first aid kit, and that'll be it.
You bet.
So I've got this. I'm playing the long game.
Right.
This is all like training, in-depth training for these kids.
Oh, I bet.
Nice. Yeah. Hey, do you feel like a coffee? I know it's late. We don't usually coffee in the afternoon, but
yeah, mate, I'm going to make one in a minute.
I'm going to boil some water. So, do you want a cowboy coffee or a coffee?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Coffee. I know Robin will listen, and he'll judge my Swedish. So I've got to try and get that right every time. It's getting a bit fresh down here. That's the other reason I think there's just a bit of a breeze. It's the other reason I was thinking that maybe just a hot drink.
Yeah, apologies if that breeze is coming through on the...
Yeah, it's more likely to be hitting my mic because it's hit me on the chest, but I've got a jacket there. I'm even considering chucking that on soon, but...
Yeah.
Excuse all the banging and everything. I am going to... Well, it's very interactive because I'm going to make coffee as we go.
I'm not going to say no to that. That sounds good to me.
You're a smart man. I'm just checking, literally smelling the pot to check how well I cleaned it last. That looks like moss on there.
Right.
As in not slime, but some moss from putting it down. So I'll do.
I can smell the coffee already, mate. That's
Yeah. Did you just come out of that bag? Yeah,
fresh coffee.
It's in a Ziploc bag, but it's surprising how. Oh, that's not it. It's surprising how much you can smell it. Those are fresh grounds. I did that about what's the time? I reckon about 6 hours ago I ground that. 6.5 hours. So they're good to go. Now, this podcast, well, you're already going to know by now because you would have seen the title of it.
Right.
But we haven't mentioned it. And that is, this podcast was meant to be the 10 things that you wouldn't hike without.
Right.
Which, still happy to go into that. But I'm going to make a coffee while I do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So let me put some caveats in. They're basically just, I want to stipulate a few things because Craig and I chatted on the phone last night and he says, well, what about, clothes and stuff? I'm like, well, let's just assume that you're clothed because if we're going to say 10 things that I won't hike without, it's definitely going to include underwear, socks, pants and a shirt. Like I'm not doing what's that show, Naked and Afraid?
No,
I don't need any of that. My 10 items are a knife, a torch.
But you didn't say clothes.
What? You're not taking clothes? So yeah, let's just get that.
But even boots, right? I mean,
but you're going to wear boots.
You can wear whatever shoes you want. I mean that.
I'm not going to. Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm not going to go into that. Like, just.
But things that we always take with us. I think
it's more like things that are in your pack or your pocket, and. We're making the assumption that you understand that we're closed and that when we give you this list, we're not suggesting that this is the only thing we're carrying. The other thing I wanted to stipulate is this is not by any means the only 10 items we carry. Look, we're not trying to make this, I'm not trying to say this is a challenge. Like the question's not what 10 items would you take if you can only take 10 items. That's not this. This is what are 10 items you would never go hiking without. Now that includes day hikes. So not just overnight. And again, going back to your point earlier, let's just say it right now that we're not talking about things like your backpack. Like don't put backpack as an item.
Yeah.
Don't even put tent or sleeping bag because if you're going on a day hike, then that's not applicable. I guess what we're trying to get to is those first 10 things you make sure are in your pack every time probably have a lot of similarities and probably have a few oddball things as well. Now, Craig sent me his list last night via text, and then he tried to change it later because he panicked.
This is what I'm scared about, mate.
Scared because I told you could take more than 10. Don't be scared.
I sent you my list. You haven't sent me yours. How do I know if you're going to be just laughing at my list now, saying you said what?
Well, I'm not. I've already been laughing.
They're probably.
I can't believe
completely different, or
I can't believe
are they the same? That's what I want to know. Is yours the same as mine?
Well, I'll tell you. All will be revealed because I did write my list and compared it to yours. And spoiler alert, there are a lot of similarities. And then there's a few things that sway in that. And this is what's interesting. And I didn't actually think it would be this interesting, which is really good to say that on the podcast. So I was going to make a topic that I thought wouldn't be interesting.
Yeah.
And what I found interesting was, I guess, the thought process behind. And to be honest, like I read your list and went, okay, yeah, they all make sense. There's nothing that I went, wow, that's weird, except for the Bluetooth speaker. That was weird. But like I didn't even flinch when I saw like hairdryer because I know that's pretty. I mean that's a staple for you. If you have to give up something like, a water purifier to take that, you will, and your iPad, stuff like that. So, but before you tune out, I am joking at some of that, about some of that. No, there were things that I thought, everything you had there, I thought, that makes sense to me. But at the same time, there was things I went, do not care. Like, absolutely don't care. I will hike now without that. I don't have it today. Like this, and I'll get to this. There's things I don't have in there that you got on your list. Like, I don't care. Literally just whatever, like who cares? And that's not, I'm not trying to say that like with any bravado or everything. I'm not saying that, oh, I'm so tough, I don't need those things. I'm just saying, I just went, oh no, I don't care if I don't have that. Like that doesn't matter. So it's turned out to be more fascinating than I anticipated.
I'm worried about is that I haven't.
Well, yeah, that you should be worried because I mean,
what you wrote.
It's basically this is just going to be judging what you wrote.
Yeah. It's
not like that.
A critique of my list, right?
No, it's not. It's not that.
Anyway,
I'm just kidding.
Well, you're making the copy, so just to be clear, it's not like, shelter or food or clothing.
Yeah. These are 10 items
I never go
that you would put in your pack.
I never go hiking without coffee, but that's not on my list.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I didn't put that in my list because I thought, well, only an idiot would ask me that.
It's part of your food, or your...
And that's another thing is I didn't even write food because these are things which are... The things we're talking about are kind of like staples. Like, of course you're going to have clothing. Of course you're going to have a backpack. Of course you're going to take
It's kind of like
water.
Once you've got that...
Yeah, that's right.
Staples.
Why am I going to say, one of my 10 items is water? Well, of course it is, you idiot. Like, don't go hiking without water.
Yeah.
So that's not one of my 10 items. These are additional things that sometimes fall into the category of creature comforts.
Yeah.
Sometimes things of interest. Sometimes safety. A lot of safety, I would say, reading your list and reflecting on mine. And I don't know, look, I feel like I'm talking about it like it's something I'm never going to reveal to the listeners. Like, Tom,
Come
on, just tell us the list, you idiot.
We get it. Just tell us what your 10 things are, man.
It's like, we're intelligent listeners, Tom. Yeah. Despite the fact that we listen to this podcast, we're the clever ones. I'm just making my way over to the stream here. I'm taking my little microphone with me.
Oh, okay.
And Craig, we're going to be drinking the beautiful, look at that, crystal clear.
Right. Yeah.
I just made the mistake of putting the whole pot in the water.
Okay.
Remember that the water collects in the bottom of and then it goes...
Makes a lot of noise.
There's these flutes underneath our pots, which my understanding is they're there to stop crosswinds when you're trying to heat up water on your stove. And when you scoop water straight out of a stream, which is something I realise you don't normally do because you might pour from a bottle, but when you do that, it fills the little flutes with water, and then you put it straight on your stove. The water drips straight into the holes in the stove, and it's happened to me twice. And but as it's so long in between, do you remember it happened on the canoe trip? I couldn't work out what was going on. And then I remembered it had been so many years since I'd done something so stupid. I'm just moving some rocks. Not moving them too much, I just need to get a stable area for this. I think that's about the best. Let me just get this out.
Quite a bit in there. That's
weird. It carries heaps. It's weird because it kind of creates this surface tension and it just sits in there. Yeah, that's not the most stable base I've ever put my water on, but it's going to be all we've got.
It's kind of level.
It's kind of dipping that way. Anyway, let's get the stove on first. And then I will, when I'm not as occupied, I will look at the list. Okay. I promise. Oh, and sorry Craig, I didn't mean to jump straight to that. Is there anything newsworthy you want to chat about?
No. No, mate, since we're doing these again, it hasn't been that long since I've seen you, so it hasn't been too much happening. It's, yeah.
Well, that's, did I tell you in the last podcast? I think I forgot to mention it. I went hiking with a group for the first time ever.
Oh, you did say that?
Did I say it in the podcast, or did I just tell you?
Mate, I remember, yeah, you did.
I'd said it in the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay,
Have you been out again with them?
No, but there's another one with the same leaders coming up in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm 90% sure.
So, yeah,
you did. We may have to.
Well, I'm not going to repeat the
correction.
whole thing, but for the first time ever, I went hiking with a group off meetup. There was a hiking group, and I went with them, and it was a fantastic experience. I think I did say that. We just met people I would never have met, and it was just a different vibe, different pace. So those same two leaders are doing another one. They do them pretty much every weekend. I think I'm gonna do that in 2 weeks' time, and then I've got a different group coming up in about 6 weeks' time that I'm going to sign up for. So it's interesting. It's so different to what you and I do. But I know what I didn't tell you, because it was since then. Was they took us on to two little summits that I'd never done personally, and that's why I was interested to get someone else to take me somewhere. And the very next weekend I took the three boys up one of the summits, and it was just fantastic, because I'd already done it with this group. I thought, well, I know that my kids can do this, so we went back. And
was it Mitchell?
No, it was this was up at near Tibougaga.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was really cool, and they want to go back again. It was like such a cool little thing. Cool. So I think there's probably a lot of people that go in groups all the time. It's just never been our thing. We just have this couple of people that we hike with, and that's that. So sorry mate, I cut you off. You didn't have anything else there that you wanted to?
No mate, I'm keen to get into the
keen to
list.
jump into the list. I'll tell you what, did I even bring a spoon? Not that I need one, but I'm just going to use a stick. I just want to break the surface of that with a stick and get that coffee grounds mixed in. Hopefully this stick is clean-ish.
Good one, that looks good.
There we go. All right, so I just want to make sure that was not just sitting on the top.
Smells good, mate.
There we go. Okay, so coffee is on. Let's start with the first one on your list. Did you do them in any order, or is it just a coincidence? Is it? I kind of felt like the order you put yours in was kind of like the same order I'd go in. It was highest priority, but...
Oh, it wasn't highest priority, but I put a couple together because I thought they go together.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
But I didn't...
So...
It's probably not.
Do you remember what the first one was on your list?
I think it was the InReach, wasn't it?
No. Fail.
I don't.
How about I just
do you want me
read
to,
it?
do you want me to tell you?
No, I'll read it. No, this is not a guessing game. This is not for me to tease you. I just thought you might know. It was Grail. So the water purification.
That's what it was.
Bottles, if you want to call them, is the brand name is Grail. We're not officially sponsored by them. We did get Grail sent to us to review, and we did a video on YouTube of that, which has had a bazillion views. And I personally know so many people who have said, "Oh, I got one after watching that video."
Yeah.
So that was my first one on the list as well. Like, it's a no-brainer. I just don't. I go on. Hey, can you watch that? Just hang on. I'll see if I can just turn it down a bit. It is downish, but downish, is that a word?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm just going to turn it down a bit. come on. I think I almost put it out. Okay, cool. Because I've just got to get some fresh water in my grail. While I'm talking about grails, because when you're doing cowboy coffee or cool
starting
coffee,
starting to go there.
Yeah, gosh, I've chosen the absolute worst time to leave it.
I've got some water for you. Use this.
Oh, is it that just cold water? Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, man.
Here you go.
Can you just...
It's nearly full.
Okay, this is going to get real tricky because now I need to put a timer on, because you want to, if you don't know what, hang on, I can't do 7 things at once. Let me just put a timer on.
I can count for you then.
You're going to count to 8 minutes for
Yeah.
me? Okay, good. Okay, I got a timer on there. I'm going to do 8 today. Yeah, so the idea with the cowboy coffee, completely off topic, is you want to cowboy coffee, you want to get it to a rolling boil and just keep it there for in the vicinity of sort of 7 minutes, they say, but I like to run it up to 8 or 9. And cold cafe is the Swedish version, which they do not allow it to get to a rolling boil and will not allow it to break the surface.
Yeah.
I've tried it both ways, and it's a lot easier just to let it break the surface because you don't have to keep
Watching it,
fussing over it. And on these hiking stoves, like I actually have to physically lift it up, or else, because I can't turn it down enough.
Yeah.
That's gosh, we didn't even get through one episode without talking about how to make coffee again. And if anyone's heard that before, they think, gosh, Tom, you already taught us that like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, grails. I personally, I mean, you could put that in the category of just water purification in general if you didn't want to say a brand, but we're just being completely 100% transparent with what the exact specific equipment we take, and it is the Grail. I love the Grail because it's a hard water bottle. It's robust. It doesn't have any kind of moving parts that can break. What it means for the hike, and you jump in whenever you like, Craig, but it means, sure, you can take, look, on the hiking I did last weekend, I took 2 litres in my HikeordieTV bladder, just for if I was away from the stream, like going up or down a mountain, I could have a sip of water.
Yeah.
But I would pretty much not touch that, and as soon as we get down to the stream, we just all muck in and hydrate again, just straight from the stream. And so I guess my point is, you can carry water, but if you know you're hiking to a place where there's going to be water that you can filter, then you got unlimited. Like, put it this way, imagine how much water I would have had to carry for myself, 3 kids and 2 dogs if there was no stream on the hikes we did. We did some pretty big distances, and a lot of it was taxing, like up super steep, up and down steep terrain. So we were sweating a lot. It was hitting 25, 27 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
And we had unlimited water. And that's why I take the Grail.
Water's a big part of what we need to have out here. It's won hands down so many times compared to other options.
It's absolute gold. We love them. We had other options. We had options that took longer. We had options that required 2 stages, so an initial filtration and then a sterilization, so to remove sediment and then the pathogens.
And it's not lightweight. If you want to just chuck a tablet in the water, go for it, but
your tablet, what do you got, 20 minutes? You got to wait
for it,
20-30 minutes to. And the taste of the tablet in the beautiful stream water that you just got.
Can't remember how long it's been since I've done that, actually.
I've never done it. Literally,
I did do it once.
I don't even know if I tested it once, but I had it in my survival kit, and it's still in my survival kit that lives in my car. Because I figure if I ever got real stuck, then that bottle of tablets could be useful if I didn't have the Grail and I was just in my car.
Yeah, sure. No, it's definitely a good piece of gear.
Yeah, they're robust too. Like, look at yours is all banged up. Mine's way older than yours, and it's in great nick. My other one of that, so that's the GeoPress. Mine's all banged up and scratched, and doesn't change the filter. That's all you do is change filters.
I changed the filter after the canoe trip. Yeah, that's great.
I'm ready to change mine on the GeoPress.
It's made a difference, and
Yeah,
but it still works, even though the filter was probably.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about these is it's just harder to push down. It takes longer.
Yeah.
It doesn't reduce the effectiveness.
Yeah.
We're getting close to coffee, I'm telling you.
What's
right
next?
So you had specifically written Gerber Crucial, which is like a folding set of pliers with a very, very cool little blade in it.
Yep.
And so what is it? It's just pliers, a blade. Is there another thing? No, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a little saw on it too.
You sure?
No, I'm gonna go.
No, you're not.
It's got
Do you not have it on you? Are you
I do.
lying? Okay, good.
Should I get it?
No, it's okay. I don't think it's got. I mean, the blade has a serration on it, but it's not a flip-out saw.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of my Leatherman, but
yeah, I mean that's
I just wrote that on the list because that's the one I take with me.
Yeah, so I wrote knife.
Okay.
Yeah, more general, but my knife is a Boca. I don't even know what it is. It's a pretty aggressive little thing. Nice little clip point, I think, and a nice little bit of serration as well. I love a good serrated edge in the wild because they're a pain in the butt to sharpen, but they're just so useful if you say your blade's knocked around a bit, not quite sharp, but you want to get through some cord real quick because it's cord on your leg or whatever. Those little serrated blades just eat through anything. I still own the Gerber Crucial and I still think it's fantastic. The pliers are so useful. Like, oh man, it's just, there's been times where I've taken a knife and wished I had the Crucial for the pliers.
Yeah.
I mean, a Leatherman does the same trick as you mentioned earlier. Basically, we're talking about a multi-tool here.
That's right.
But the difference between this and a Swiss Army knife is, I guess, a Swiss Army knife doesn't have pliers. I think a standout feature of this is if you had something embedded in your foot, like I don't know what, a massive thorn or something, and the tweezers wasn't cutting it, you could go to work with these pliers.
Yeah.
So yeah, good. But let's just say any cutting tool is going to be of great use. I take it on even short. Oh, that's my timer. That means coffee's done. I'll just turn that off. Did I turn it off? Yep. And I'll try and turn the timer off. Okay. Next one on your list, Craig, was InReach. That's the Garmin InReach, which is what do they call those?
Satellite communication.
Yeah, like they used to call them EPIRBs or something. No, it's not an EPIRB. PLBs, personal locator beacon.
Yeah.
It has two-way communication though, which is different to some of the other ones. Now, this is one of the ones, Craig. The reason that's not on my list is because it would be out and out lie, because my subscription ran out and there's something funky going on when I try and extend my subscription. And so I just chucked it back in the cupboard, and I've been hiking without it for the last 2 months or 3 months. I've been on quite a few hikes and I've not taken it.
It's a debate, mate.
Look, I'm not saying I shouldn't have. If that thing was, if I can work out this, if I had worked out that subscription this morning, it'd be with me right now. It'd be on the list, but I felt
you can't put it on the list because you don't.
Not to put it on the list because you could say to me, "Oh yeah, grab yours out," and I'd sound like a complete fool.
Yeah.
Because I literally do not have it here, so I just couldn't, out of principle, put it on my list and say, hand on heart, yeah, I never leave home without it, but it's actually at home. So,
yeah.
Let's say this one is. I'm not debating. Thanks for that water, mate.
Shit.
I'm not debating that it shouldn't have been on your list. I'm debating that it should be on my list, but I didn't put it on because
I can handle that. But I'll just tell you, they do not float. They do not float.
Oh my gosh!
I lost one on the canoe trip. And,
do you actually have a cup, mate, or do I have to provide you a cup?
I've got to walk over there. Otherwise, I was just going to say that.
Can you reach?
I can reach.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just start walking over there. But yes, it was dark, just on dark, I think, and we pulled up at a little jetty with the canoes, and I was leaning over the edge of the jetty, and it went in the water, and I watched it go to the bottom.
That was.
And you put your oar down, and you couldn't touch the bottom.
I put down a. It wasn't just my oar. I put down a kayak, double-ended kayak paddle.
Yeah.
And pushed it all the way down.
Yeah.
You're just getting to the end of that lead.
I'll be right. I can reach
Greg
from here.
is precariously perched, leaning over to get his cup from his pack. So that oar was taller than me. So that was in the vicinity of 6 to 7 foot, and I was pushing it down with my hand under the water another foot or so, and was not touching the bottom.
And it's my fault. You're supposed to clip them to something, and it was just in my pocket.
It was so...
Which I've got one in my pocket right now.
Yeah.
I've got a new one.
But you don't have it clipped on anything?
No. No, it's just floating around in there.
No comment. No comment.
But no, I did. It's the newer version. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
That
was sad to see that go. I knew what had happened the second I saw your face. I know what that was.
It's just.
If it was shallower, I would have dived in. But when I checked the depth, I thought that's getting to. I mean, that's a long. Who knows how deep that was? And it's, to be brutally honest, what we're talking about is there's actually bull sharks in that. Have been sighted and caught on fishing rods exactly in that area. So
that's what insurance is for, mate. So it's
it's cheaper to insure that than it is for me to go diving down in the absolute pitch black with sharks.
So yes, be careful with them, but they are really good and valuable. And you can send a message from most places.
You can send waypoints home. People can look up, follow your journey. Yeah, yes. It's really cool.
Yes, the new one auto tracks. So the moment it's turned on, it starts breadcrumb trails automatically. So it's very good, easy to use. I've found it pretty useful.
Yeah, I've enjoyed, through the testing process, I was sending you and another friend and then my family messages, and they were replying. They loved jumping on and looking at exactly where I was, because when I tested mine, there's your coffee, mate.
Yep.
Enjoy.
Oh, well.
It was at my friend's property, so they knew the general kind of area. So he's down the creek. Oh, he's staying there the night, and sort of thing. Yeah. Yep. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, man. But because I didn't.
It's gonna be hot.
Yeah. What did I put it on the list? I better check my list, but. Navigation.
Strong.
is pretty important. And so if
you're going to go off trail too,
if you want to have a list of 10 things you've got to take with, you've got to take some navigation, of course, and really good. The best navigation you can get is what you should have. I think that goes on as my navigation because of how it ties in with my iPhone. I can keep a very close watch of where I am. We've got other modes of navigation as well. I don't think I put anything else navigation on the list. So I think
you put an iPhone.
Yes, and there's a number of reasons for that. If we talk about that,
Excuse me,
and that's definitely part of my navigation too.
Yeah. So we can jump straight onto iPhone because it is on my list as well.
Yeah,
and I think we get, absolutely, the navigation. But a compass is going to help you navigate. A map's going to help you navigate, but it's not going to send an emergency message to a rescue crew, and that's what a PLB does.
Yeah.
And you can argue all day about they're expensive and all of this sort of stuff, and the subscriptions are expensive, and I will argue back and say, okay, so you're basically saying your life is worth sub $500 in total. It's just ridiculous. Like, this argument is not even happening. Like, go away.
Yeah.
So I understand you can say, oh, that's not within my budget, and or perhaps it doesn't concern you, and I appreciate all sides of the argument, but Craig's right. Like, this is something that to be able to just hit that button is, if you never need it, fantastic. But if you ever did need it, it's a very good brand. It's tried and tested.
Yeah.
Those birds are back. Oh, look, that's a fantail right there, see?
Oh, yeah.
That's the same one. Oh, no, it's not. The other one had yellow on its chest. That is a cute bird.
So nice. Different to the wagtails, the woolly wagtail,
yeah,
right?
that I have seen that type, at Mount Mee, like where we go.
Yeah.
I've seen that type.
Yeah.
But it's different to the suburban, black and white. Yeah, this is much smaller. I'd say a third smaller.
Yeah.
But they just move the same, don't they?
Yeah.
Just hilarious. So iPhone...
It's a multi-tool.
It is a multi-tool. It's
camera.
It's a camera and video just for those quick things. It's, most definitely, I know we go to areas that right now I've got zero reception here, like absolute zero, nothing. Like, there's nothing I could do if we didn't have your inReach here. I'd have to hike approximately, I think it would be at least 1 to 2 kilometers before I'd get into any range of any use. And by that stage, I'm back at my car anyway.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be relied on. What it can be relied on for is as a navigation tool. For example, we use Topo Maps Plus, which reviews for years and years, and I absolutely love it. Excellent. And it works when you don't have phone reception. It still works as GPS.
Puts you on the map.
It puts you on the map. You know where you are.
Yep.
In the vicinity of things, so you know how far a stream is, or a mountain, or your car. Like, you drop a pin at your car when you leave, at the trailhead when you leave. Mm-hmm. You can always turn around and start pointing yourself back to that, and that is what I love. Mm-hmm. Again, should we be 100% reliant on it? No, you could drop it and smash the screen right now, but is it would I call it a worthy navigation tool? Absolutely, I would. 100%. Yeah. The advancements in phones. I mean, it doesn't have to be iPhone. We just said iPhone because that's what we use. Whatever form of phone you use these days usually has the ability to do some crazy good navigation stuff.
Yeah, this is how we do the navigation. I remember when we started, there was a lot of debate that you should also carry a map because these devices can go flat. And
back then when we started, they didn't even have Google Maps wasn't even. It only had the Apple Maps, and it was rubbish.
Oh yeah.
And as soon as you got out, it just basically said, "Well, we don't know where you are because we don't have any phone reception."
Yeah, it still can fail, like you said, but I don't carry a paper map anymore. I foolishly probably, but you know, let's touch wood that we don't have to say, "Geez, we got lost." Using what we use, I think we can usually get
yeah, I mean, I have taken a paper map on a couple of hikes. I've got a map of this region, and we did take that. And I mean, I think one time I took it and didn't even pull it out, but I knew I had it there. And in Tasmania as well, I did take the map that they give you.
You have to, don't you? You have to carry it.
I'm not sure. Like maybe it is one of the recommended things. Yeah, maybe it is.
Almost required that you have it.
But it's they give it to you. I mean, that thing there, that place is, I mean, the trail's so well defined. Like you can't go off that trail.
Yeah.
You'd have to do something stupid like go off the trail in a snowstorm to go to the toilet and then get disoriented and not find your way back. It would have to be something like that. But nonetheless, what I do like about those sorts of things is it had things on there, and this is quite different to a normal map, I guess, because it has things on, well, this is the distance between huts, and this is roughly how long it takes, 3 to 5 hours or something. So you kind of get a gauge of how you're going, but that's not a stereotypical topo map, so probably getting a bit off track there.
All right, so there's that 3 things, and now...
Well, that was 4.
Oh, yes. So...
Okay, so you said your next one was head torch, and yeah, I'm with you 100%. Head torch.
Yeah, always throw it in. It's small. It makes sense.
So let me hear why it's in there. You're on a day hike. Why did you put in a head torch?
Oh well, the number one is in case we get caught out overnight. We've got it. Of course, I'm assuming you can use them for all sorts of things when you need to see in a dark spot, or getting out a splinter or whatever it is.
Yeah, look.
But it's just in case you get caught out.
I'm 100% with you on that. I always, and people say that, I know, you're overcautious or something like that. I always pack like I'm going to get stuck out the night. Always. That's just how I pack. And it doesn't take that much extra weight, but that's how I pack. I pack like I'm going to get rained on and I'm going to get lost and have to stay out for a day or two. That is why we've been out here for a couple of hours and I bought a stove. Now, yes, I want coffee, but
it's always
we now have a source of, I'm not going to say heat like we're going to sit around like a campfire. I mean, we can make more coffee, we can heat up water and drink it to keep ourselves warm, or whatever you want. It's why I bring a lighter, because if I had to stay here the night with a broken leg or a snake bite while you went to get help, I'd go over there, the other side of the bank, and I'd build a very safe fire and I would sit next to it for the morale and the warmth, because it's going to get freezing here soon.
Yep.
I can you hear that frog?
No. I can.
There, did you get that?
Yeah.
It's over behind me. There.
Weird.
It's just down behind these rocks. So the sun is setting. The pace of this podcast, I truly believe we're walking out of here in the dark at this point.
Okay.
And
thanks for the coffee, mate.
No worries.
By the way.
And I'm happy to say I do have my head torch for the exact reason. Now, I took it on, I think, 3 out of 4 of the hikes I did with the boys. And we were hiking in the middle of the day. The one hike I didn't take it on the third day, we decided to stretch it a bit and go back a different way, and the sun was setting, and I thought to myself, you broke your own rule, didn't bring the head torch because you were scrambling around, couldn't find it because you used it last night and you threw it on your bed or whatever.
Mm.
And at that point I thought, if we're walking back in the dark and you don't have that head torch, you are a fool, an absolute fool. And we got back with plenty of time, plenty of sun left. But to break my own rule and then be kind of like a late arvo like it is now, I thought that was really stupid. And so I put it on my list because it's gone back into the I won't do that again list.
Of course. Yeah, no, it does come in handy.
Because that's the thing. It's not about getting stuck out overnight even. It's like tonight, there's a big chance we're going back, as I said, in the dark. So I don't want to be walking across these rocks and crossing the stream twice with no head torch. Trying to use my iPhone stupid torch on that.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a bonus for the iPhone.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually.
Just for like a quick grab. So we agree on the head torch. That's a no-brainer. Just chuck a head torch in. It's like a couple 100 grams. Who cares?
Yeah.
Next one you were very specific.
Okay.
You specifically said toilet paper. Nothing else, just toilet paper. Whereas in my list, I wrote it as a number 2 kit. So my number 2 kit has toilet paper.
Yeah.
It's a big, like an oversized Ziploc bag. It has toilet paper.
Yep.
And it has
a trowel.
hand sanitizer.
And a trowel.
No. I usually use a stick or my boot or both.
Oh, because I was tempted to say, because I've got a little trail thing.
Oh, do you have the trail with that? Yeah. So it's not just toilet paper then?
No, but
you're talking about
mate, you said
business.
Write a list. I wrote it quick. I must say this was very quick.
What? Hey, this is probably the best way to write it.
I
you
reckon.
Didn't overthink it.
It was because we were packing for this too, and I said, well, what am I just throwing in my pack now? And that's,
Look, I'll accept it. I'll accept it as you meant that it wasn't just a toilet paper, okay?
Okay.
Do you carry hand sanitizer? Filthy
it's possible
animal.
I don't, it's possible that I don't.
I do. But, I mean, there's a stream here. Most places we go, you can wash your hands or use some of your water bottle or whatever.
Yeah.
But I used to take those
little soaps.
Those Cedar Summit flat
little leaves
paper thin sort of thing, and leaves, and you basically add water. But I found them messy and a pain in the butt to use, and I didn't really like washing soap back into streams or water sources, and so I just stopped taking them. Now I use a hand sanitizer, a small bottle, pretty cool little bottle. Make sure that you don't buy some cheap one where you're gonna have the pump or something and you're gonna bump the pump in your pack, or something's gonna snap off. Remember the time you had sunscreen hanging off your pack?
Yep.
And we were walking along for about 2 kilometers and I keep seeing this like white, I thought it was white paint all over the path. I'm like, wow, what's going on here? And after 2 kilometers we realized that Craig had clipped this tiny sunscreen
on a carabiner thing.
On a carabiner onto his pack.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing had broken off or unscrewed or whatever.
Because it hangs upside down.
Oh, it hangs upside down. So the bottle was there, the cap came off.
Friggin' lid comes
off. So
off.
not only did you litter in a national park,
I know.
Then it dripped sunscreen for 2 kilometers.
Oh, mate, it was shame. It went all over my pants.
Oh, that's right. It was going down the back of your pants. It was funny in some ways. I guess my point is, and that's why I put stuff like that in a Ziploc bag, because if there's some impact or I stand or sit on my bag or
sure.
and it pops that sanitizer. I do not want that going through my sleeping bag or something.
Yeah.
So be careful with any of those sorts of things. But yeah, a number 2 kit. I'm telling you, you don't take it, that's the day you're going to need it. Good luck with those leaves. Good luck. Better hope you get a good one. Okay, next on your list is you've kind of got like this, what do you call it? Like a forward slash, like an either or. You've kind of got hammock chair or like a seat pad. We're both sitting on these gardening kneeling pads.
Yep.
That you can pick up dirt cheap at the hardware store.
Yes.
And Craig put me onto them, and I bought this. It slips down in between my pack and the pack frame, because I have an external frame.
Yep.
And I forget it's there. I'll take it on 10 hikes and won't use it, and then I'll remember it's, as in I don't stop. But then when I want to stop somewhere, it's always there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but here's the thing. Oh, do you want to talk to that? Why that's important to you before I add my...
What, the pad?
Oh, a pad or a hammock chair. Like.
Oh, definitely. Definitely the hammock chair. It's been so useful, and I always throw it in, even on little day trips, even when I'm just going somewhere just with the kids. I just sit in the corner and hang out in my chair. And my hammock weighs 1 kilo, my Hennessy hammock. And this thing weighs 300 grams, and it sets up in moments. And it doubles as a rain cover. It doubles as a under.
It does require trees.
Yep, you do have to have trees, I guess, but it doubles as a few things. It's got little tiny eyelets for making it into a tarp in the rain, and I value it, so it always goes in the pack.
2 is 1 and 1 is none.
Exactly.
Yep, that's good. I'll pay that.
They reckon it's like a water bin, so you can like.
Oh, if you needed to transport water from... Yeah, okay, interesting.
It's useful for many things, that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of... Sounds like a bit of a survival kit item of sorts, especially if it was pouring with rain and
300
and you could throw it over
grams, you know how they advertise those zero, are they, chairs? That people,
the fold-up sort of...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you can hardly get to sit on a flat surface. Yeah.
Oh, they scare me, those things, to be honest.
You know, the most expensive ones, are about 600 grams.
Yes, people are going to argue that it's more likely that you can use them than a hammock. But here's the point of this. Are those birds back? It's awesome. The point of this is what we take. And
sure.
Craig knows the area he's hiking in or intending to hike in. For example, this rainforest has a bazillion trees. Like if we were staying here the night, you just string it up across there right now. Bang, you're sitting in it. So you're off the ground and cool. So don't complain, oh, well, that's a stupid item because I hike in the desert. Well, okay, take a different chair.
I'm really impressed with that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the other side where people would say, well, that's just for comfort. That's kind of stupid. And I don't think that's fair, because everyone has different reasons for being outdoors. They do different things while they're out there. So you might want to sit and read a book, and my butt is getting sore now after however long sitting on this pad.
Yep.
Especially because I've sat upright to make the coffee and everything.
No, I'd prefer to be sitting in that hammock right now.
Yeah.
And it's
likewise. Not with you, but well, that depends. But no, look, I'll tell you why it's not on mine. Despite the fact I've got this pad with me right now, is I won't take it on a day hike. Like a short hike up a peak or something where I just don't take it. Don't take it.
No, anywhere I'm going to stop though, I consider taking it just in case, and it's got other purposes. Yeah, I get your point. It's not a must-have.
No, but that's the beauty of your list versus mine, is it's what you don't want to hike without.
All power to you.
yeah, it didn't. Like I said, it's always in my big pack, and quite often I take my big pack on short hikes because I just love the frame so much. I love the chassis, the harness.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable.
Yeah.
I didn't need that pack today, but I bought it because it's just so comfortable. So the pad was there as a bonus.
So you don't have a chair of any description, nothing like that
No.
in your day pack? No.
No.
Okay.
No, and I won't put that in it.
No.
If I knew I was specifically going to a spot to chill for a while, I would take the bigger pack, and this pad would already be slid down in it.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of hikes. So that hike I was saying that I went with the group, didn't take a chair. The hike when I took the kids back, it didn't like it.
There
Was just
was years when we never took anything.
No, we didn't take anything
for comfort, and it's just that I thought you had to have something heavy and bulky to fit that purpose.
Exactly.
And now that I've found it, I'm very sort of attached to it, and I really like it.
Yeah, I know you
Sometimes
always.
I don't use it, but I
whip
do
it
always
out.
take it. I always whip it out if I can.
You got to whip it out. Yeah. No, it's cool. I do.
Are we going to put a link to it? Can we?
Yeah, we can do that.
Dutch wear. So I
Yeah.
get like a late night, troll.
Well, I
on
mean, the
internet
thing
and
with
found it.
a lot of our gear is we do spend a fair bit of time researching. These
That's
aren't just off the cuff. I know you were just saying it was a late night purchase, but
Yeah.
I don't think it was the first one you clicked on. Like,
and since they've got so much cool gear, so no, I don't recommend it.
no, it's a pretty cool looking little thing, and yeah, I definitely I wouldn't laugh at that one.
What's next?
Okay, so you had it listed as snake bite bandage, first aid kit.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wrote on my list was first aid kit because,
It's always
again, like my first aid kit, I consider the snake bandage to be part of that.
Yep.
My first aid kit, and this is probably jumping a bit ahead on your list, I consider my first aid kit to be somewhat of a survival kit. Like it has items in there, for example, lip balm, that I don't use lip balm. The only reason that lip balm's in there is for, well, if I had some real weird kind of like rubbing kind of rash, I might use it as a heavy balm to protect something. But more likely I'd use it to help start a fire.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. Now, having said that, coincidentally, just days ago, we were out hiking and my eldest son said, "Oh, my lips are really cracking up, and do you have lip balm?" And I said,
Hell
"Dude,
yeah.
I never use lip balm. Like in my entire life, I think I've used it on maybe less than half a dozen occasions. I just don't get dry lips." But I was able to say, "Well, yeah, sure, man. Hang on a second, check this out." And in those 4 days, I used the the first aid kit 3 times in 4 days.
Yeah.
2 times where we were remote and they were splinters.
Yeah.
Ones that were that big and uncomfortable that it was the same kid, like, oh no, he keeps falling over, whatever. The youngest, the 8-year-old. Both times, like, I wouldn't want to have that splinter in me for another 4 hours the rest of the day. And both times I was able to easily, because the tweezers I've got are fantastic. I think the brand name is Aid, but it's AIDE. I'm sure that.
I remember this. We've had this chat because I'm impressed by them. They're really
They're
good.
hardcore, like heavy duty stainless steel with a
I had trouble finding
kind
them.
of like a 45 degree, even maybe steeper degree point on the end. So they're not square, is what I'm saying. They're not like barbecue tongs where the two ends are square to each other. They have this angle on them, and because of that angle, it means that the upper point, you can get very, very precise with them, more precise than just your standard tweezers from the supermarket or whatever. and they're longer, heavier, like there's more to hold on to, which I think makes them a better tool. Now, you were just saying you had trouble finding them?
Yeah.
Have you got some audio issues?
A little audio thing. I hope it's just my can, just a little clicking, but I think it'll be gone. It's not too bad.
Okay.
But I separated the snakebite kit because a lot of first aid kits don't include any sort of pressure bandage, and that's critical. So
yeah, well, I mean, that's if you go and buy one off the shelf. Like, my first aid kit is not off the shelf. It's just I use the bright orange, very small Cedar Summit dry bag.
Yeah.
It's the brightest orange you can buy because I wanted it to be visible to anybody digging around in my pack in a hurry.
Yep.
And I just cobbled it together with all sorts of things.
Yep. I've made my own too, yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. I think if you went and bought a first aid kit, it probably doesn't ever have... It might have bandages, but not specifically snake bandages. And as we've discussed before, that this new idea of the snake bandages have these little rectangles on them, and when you wrap them around your leg, you pull it to the tightness at which the rectangles stretch to become squares.
Totally.
And that gives the exact perfect tension, which is ultra important as to give enough firmness to slow down the movement of the venom within the limb, but not too much that you're actually restricting blood supply to the limb. So that's
pretty smart.
Real smart. I mean, can you do it with a standard bandage? Of course you can. In emergency, of course you can. Is it great having that one there that I could literally instruct my kids to do to my leg while I'm sitting there trying to stay immobile? Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, it's good gear.
And I love having it, like it's in the same pouch, but it's not in the same bag. I showed you earlier, if you said, I don't have mine with me, which I just realized totally breaches your, I always take these 10 things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you were saying before about you didn't have an in-reach, and I'm saying don't mention the snakebite kit then. Yeah, left it on the way here. It's in my car.
In your car.
Not your car, which we just swapped.
We just swapped cars,
up a little while ago.
Yeah, we just carpooled here.
Dang.
So, but yeah, like I showed you, and I mean, this is a good tip for anyone. If you're going hiking with other people, what I always do, and I do this with my kids, I do it with you. I didn't do it with half of this. I didn't do today. I will always say at the car, and I showed you, I unzipped my pack and said, there is the snake bandage.
That's where it is.
It's outside of the orange bag in that, so you know where it is. What I normally also do, and I'll show you, see that lid of my pack's back there? So this is the underside. In there are my car keys.
Yeah.
And you need to know that. And anyone hiking with you needs to know that. Because it's almost more important, if I fall down off the side or something, it's more important that you grab that pack and you get to those keys. Because we've established, well, you've got your in-reach, which is vastly better than me. You could hit that button. But we've established that there's no phone reception here. And, whatever the situation was, you can get me set up. What if I'm unconscious and you're rifling through my bag going, where's his keys? Did he hide them at the car? Maybe you hid him under the car. That's important. This is off topic, but I just have to say, if you're hiking with people, just at the very start, I just unzip the top pouch and I go, hey, everybody. I did it on the canoe trip. I said, hey, everybody, in this pack, there will always be this snake bite bandage and this first aid kit. And here's my keys. If anything happens, you know where it all is, right?
True.
And everyone went, yeah, cool, got it, logged it. It's okay. It's not like it's not doom and gloom like, hey guys, this is a super dangerous expedition. It's not that at all. It's just, why not just have the conversation up front?
Sure.
If I if I'm over there and, going for a loo break and I get bitten by a snake and I'm calling out to you going, oh my gosh, I don't want to move. I got bitten by a snake. Get the snake bandage. Like, where is it? Like, I don't want to shout. I just want to lay here. Why not just have the conversation?
Yeah.
Okay, so first aid, no brainer. I mean, we could have, if it was in priority order, I would have moved that like way up near probably above water purification or equal to. Your next one here is sunglasses, sunscreen, hat. You kind of wrap that up in one item, which is, straight up, I'm going to say you're cheating. But
what about?
But I will say that I don't think you need to include the hat. So I'll give you that back. So because I think a hat is a piece of clothing, but I appreciate that you put it in there because
sun safe, mate.
It is sun safe and it is super important. And I mean,
super boring.
Super boring. Like this hat here, like we've been in the pouring rain with this hat.
Yeah.
I wear like an Akubra, which is kind of like an Australian version of it. It's a rabbit felt hat, which is like a cowboy hat of sorts, like a Stetson, is it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Stetson. It's one of the brands, isn't it?
That's a US one, yeah. And in the rain, I remember it was pouring with rain and I was just wearing this hat and it just stopped everything falling on my shoulders, the rain falling on my shoulders and on my face and just saturating, just running down my face. Like sure, I could have flipped the hood up of my rain jacket. That would probably be smart.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to make it a bit of clothing because, I'm sure we're going to mention that, like, I haven't even got a jacket on there, but I always pack a jacket because it could be late at night.
Well, that's because you ran out of...
Ran out of numbers.
You ran out of numbers.
That's why I couldn't put the Bluetooth speaker on there, man.
Yeah, you said, and Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, that was number 11.
It was number 11. That does your bonus one. And they're really fun to, throw into streams or, smash on the rocks or something like that. So they're great. They're so great. It just adds a little element of fun to a hike. So
what else is on?
So I don't know. So your last item was you had survival kit, including a fire starter. Yeah. Now I spoke to this earlier in that my first aid kit's kind of wrapped up.
Yeah.
With that, like there's a lighter in there. I actually lost my ferro rod. I don't know where it is. Here's a crazy thing. I pulled out. I knew I didn't have a lighter with me. I went to pull out my ferro rod. I had the handle and the striker, and the rod was not in the bag, and I still haven't found it. I'm assuming it's going to come up in one of my other packs, like in a pouch or something where it's fallen out.
Yeah.
I don't think I've lost it, but that kind of scared me because I thought, well, that's completely useless.
Yeah.
And so I think what I did with an older one, I had the handle actually broke off, and instead of gluing it back on, I wrapped like a heavy-duty duct tape around it, and then put a little loop of paracord on, like made a lanyard, and that is a really good handle that's never going to break off, and it's attached to the striker.
Yeah.
So the birds are... there's that like orange-chested one again. So very different bird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a late swim at 5:30.
Very cute. Survival kit, I just mean that, and especially in the past when we used to go in some crazy places too, you always just can get one that's made to order. You'll find these little things, they size of a...
I'm putting my socks on. Sorry to interrupt you, mate.
Well, you can get some the size of rolled up socks. They're really small, but I've made my own, and I do always like to throw it in. And if I pull it open, it's got heaps of stuff that you don't even think. It's got a tiny torch. It's got like alfoil. It's got salt. It's got all this stuff.
And yeah, so back to my point earlier, and I'm not discounting whatsoever, not discounting you adding that as a separate item, because I'm sure
it's got duct tape.
I'm sure that's more comprehensive than what I've got.
Yeah.
A lot of those things you mentioned are jammed in what I call my first aid kit. Like there's salt in there
Yeah.
to get leeches and stuff off. There's another spare lighter.
Yeah, I got a lighter.
There's the permanently in my first aid kit is the SOL
I was going to say
bivvy bag.
That's the
So emergency bivvy.
Yeah, that's what I've got in there.
Yeah, so that's in my first aid. So
But that's not really first aid. But
no,
it kind of is.
No, but I just keep it all in the one bag.
Gotcha.
So, but I understand why you would put that down as a separate item, because you're 100% right. If I said to someone, hey, make sure you pack a first aid kit, and then we get out there and they go, oh, and I say, hey, you got a emergency bivvy in there? And they say, no, you idiot, you said pack a first aid kit, not a survival kit. So,
different.
fair call splitting them out.
Fair bit of paracord and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that I need to have a wee break.
Okay.
Can we have a wee break?
Yeah.
A bush wee break?
Go for it.
Okay. I'm going to unclip this mic.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to come with me. And then I'm going to wrap up the end of my list. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay. I'm back and I feel a lot better. Thanks, Craig.
I bet you do.
I thought I could get through just this last bit, but with that coffee and all going on, it was just distracting me.
Well, I didn't go, so you better make this quick or
I'm going to make it real quick.
I'll have to have another stop.
That was the end of your list. The other reason we got to speed it up is it's getting dark.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's the thing with my list, Craig, is I didn't get to 10. I didn't get to 10. Like I looked at my pack and everything in my pack, and I thought, I guess maybe you could argue that, as we just pointed out, that by bundling first aid into survival, I've maybe somewhat cheated. But to my earlier point about things that I don't carry, or I don't take sunglasses anymore, and sunscreen I have in my first aid kit. So I'm kind of cheating on that double up. But I did have a rain jacket. See on the side of my pack there?
Yeah.
That's been on there for 2 months. I haven't used it. It just is on there. I haven't even, I need to take it off and dust it off. But I've got my Fjallraven rain jacket just strapped to the side of my pack, and it just stays there, which is great because I don't forget it. If it's a day hike, I don't take that one. I take a smaller, lighter weight Mountain Designs that I just shove in the pack, but I'll always take it. It's not even about rain. Sometimes when you just get a brisk wind somewhere, you just want to have that, remove that wind chill factor. So rain jacket.
Yeah.
Now, that only takes me to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That only takes me to 7.
Okay.
The other two that I put on, I guess I put in reach later. Like there's a gap, you see. I put a gap because there's the what I take and what I should take.
Okay.
And so I put in reach under that because I can't honestly say I bought it today, but I should take it. So that would be my number 8. The other one I put on was stove. I do not take it on 100% of hikes. I'm going to be honest about that. If it's a real short hike that's just a couple of hours, especially like when I went with that group, I didn't take my stove because there was no kind of opportunity that other people don't sit around like we do. They just want to keep moving. Mm-hmm. So I didn't take it. But I take it so often it's not funny. Like I take it all the time.
Yeah, you're right.
I make coffee all the time.
Yeah, you're right. I throw it in when I'm going. most hikes.
Yeah.
Got it in the bottom. It's good for many reasons, mate, to have that.
But that's it. Like, I didn't get to 10. Maybe I should have made it 5. There's obviously things that you would throw in, and they would be bespoke items that are suited to the area, the terrain, the climate. Like, you might say, oh, I always put in a beanie. Well, okay, that's great, but at the moment it's summer here.
Sure.
And so I'm not going to say I always carry a beanie, because I don't. But there's some things that I would definitely take in other climates that I don't have here. If it was a multi-day hike, obviously that pack changes dramatically and starts to include shelter and all of those sorts of things. So, but what doesn't change for me, and for you, is that list there. I would take that on, like, today. I would take it on a 10-day hike. Like, that stuff comes with me no matter what. Like, it's short, long, whatever, it just comes. If you're doing a 3-hour hike and you're not taking a first aid kit, I'm questioning that. I'm just going to ask you, like, what are you thinking? Like, I want to know I want to know why you think that's acceptable, because I'm curious, because I don't believe for the weight and the size that you're gaining anything by not taking a first aid kit. I don't think you're gaining anything by not taking a PLB. And there's various other things on that list I can't really see justifying not taking those things.
Yeah, I guess you could stretch your list out with some additional clothing or some additional items of food, or some, I think we were going to say even coffee's not on the list. But it always goes with us, and it's, borderline items.
They're kind of like those staples that you say, well, of course I'm not going to hike without at least some snacks, right? Like, again, my mentality goes back to, my train of thought is, am I going to get stuck out here tonight? In which case, I'll be grateful for those 2 granola bars I shoved in there. Even though today they won't get touched because I don't need them. Just to know they're there. And that tiny bit of weight, a couple of 100 grams, it just, I don't know, there's that kind of ultralight hiking community is a different beast. I appreciate what they do. All the advancements they make assist us to hike lighter.
Sure.
And then carry all this ridiculous sound equipment and filming gear. And then have basically the same weight pack that we would have. So I appreciate those advancements, but I'm not going to skimp on items that are of value to my safety or well-being, because I don't believe that's sensible. And that about wraps up what I've got to say. Do you have anything to add?
No, mate, that's been a great chat.
This has been a big one, man. I'm actually starting to get cold to the point where...
Yeah, me too.
I've either got to get moving on the trail or chuck that jacket on, which I'm glad I bought.
I brought one too.
So you got a jacket, so good on you. I think if we just get moving and get the packs on, I'll warm up in 2 minutes.
But we might not have much light left, and there's a few rocks to hop over, so we should put our head torches on.
Yeah. I know where my head torch is too. It's in the top. So I think we will pack up and get a move on and just try and get back to the car while there's this tiny bit of light left. Thanks so much for listening. One thing I did want to add is lots of people reached out after the last podcast was released. So just to say, hey, it's great to have you back, all through Instagram and
Perfect.
A shameless plug to the Hodcast Facebook group. People on there were just saying, "Oh, this is so cool! Can't wait to listen. I'm listening going to work today, or I'm on a drive," and it was just great to have that recognition, to realize that. Oh, I'm so glad we got back and did that one, because after it came out, then people were kind of letting us know that, hey, I'm glad you're back, and that was really comforting to know that it was well received. And so I know it was a short one. Well, we certainly made up for it today, so there's no complaints. But it is much appreciated, and it's good to be back. And I do hope this has been a good one. I think we kind of covered two topics there, because we did the first whole half was like how to be a parent.
Parenting 101
Parenting
with kids.
That's a whole
wild
podcast in itself, but I think we accidentally got tied up in that. Well, I say we, like, I'd never blame you for this. I'll go on these tangents and you just let me go, which I appreciate. But look, it felt like a chat I wanted to have on a topic that was so fresh to me, because I was literally hiking 4 days ago still with the boys. So
yeah, I love that shit, man. That's good.
Cool. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Love you all. And we're going to leave it there. Whatever you're doing today, have a fantastic time. We're going to head off, get warm, get back. I don't know, maybe grab pizza on the way back to our cabin, because we're roughing it. Take care, guys.
See ya.
Thanks. See you next time. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, we'd really appreciate your ratings and comments if you can spare the time. If you'd like to know more about HikeordieTV and keep track of our adventures around Australia, make sure you drop by Hikeordie.com. That's where you'll find all the information you'll need to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or Pinterest. As always, we appreciate your support. Thanks for listening.